Okay, so tonight we're going to do a walkthrough on put and delete Ajax commands. I know that this has kind of been a tough spot for a lot of people, so we're going to be working with that. And yeah, if you guys have questions along the way, we'll just do questions in the MVP channel there. So we're going to...
Are you going to do it in React or in Redux?
React, not Redux. And that's because Jeremy told me that most of your guys' projects haven't used Redux, right? So we're going to do it just vanilla React. And actually, we're going to use my Avengers app, since I know that app so well at this point. So yeah, we'll get going on that. Cool. So again, for those that just jumped in, we're going to be doing put and delete in the Avengers app, not with Redux, with just React. And you can ask questions in the MVP channel and on Slack, and we'll kind of jump back and forth if there's questions. If you have a question and I haven't checked Slack in a while, you can @mention me, and I should see the notification come up for that. So, okay, we'll get started. Let's see. We want desktop. Okay, so let's see. I want to not show this at all. Hopefully, I don't know what to do with that. Hold on one second. I just want to make sure that that stupid window thing doesn't show up on the recording. Okay, 1 second, guys. Okay, well, hopefully this doesn't show up in the recording, because I seriously hate that thing. All right. So here's the Avenger app. We know this so well by now because I just love using this as an example because it's fun. So let's check out the code. So we've got a server and with our data, and then our get, post, put, and delete. And then in our HTTP Avengers folder, we have our app.js, which is keeping all our state. So it's got our Avengers data, our Avenger object, which is used for this form here, and then is updating, and let's see. Then in component did mount in app.js, we are fetching our Avengers and setting our state with the data that comes back from that. Our handle change is handling the form, this form here. And what else do we have? Okay, so we've got these already wired up. So we're going to delete that. Let's delete this and handle update. Okay, good. So we need to work on delete and update. So let's look at our components. We have our home component, which is this component here. Then we have our list, which is this component here. And then we have our Avenger JS, which is what we get when we click on an Avenger. And then in this, you'll notice that we have this button, which is to update an Avenger, and this button, which is to delete an Avenger. And when we click on these, we are passing in these functions from props. Where is that function? Oh, nope, just kidding. We're passing in the function up here, and then this function invokes the function from props. We've got our Avenger form right here, which of course is this here. And it's also going to be the same component that we use for updating our Avenger. And that should be all that we need. The info on movies is, they're just subroutes right here. Nested routes inside our Avenger page. So when you click on an Avenger, we've got info and movies. So that's all those are. We don't need to worry about those. Okay. Zoom everything in a little bit, and we'll get started. So when we are here at our Avenger, let's first work on deleting. So when we click delete, oh, I need to save the files. So when we click delete, we want to delete our Avenger out of the database. Right now it's just pushing us back to the list, but we want it actually deleted. So we're in our Avenger component, and we've got our button built out for deleting, and it is invoking this function here, handle delete, which we saw was up here. So we've got this function inside our component, and it is being invoked every time we click that handle delete, or that delete button, delete Avenger button. So what is this doing? First, it's going to invoke a function on our props object. So we got props.handleDelete Avenger, and we're passing the ID of our Avenger down to into this function. The other way we could do this would be props.match.params Avenger ID. So we could get our ID off of the URL, right up here, or we can just reference the Avenger that we found from our Avenger list .find here. So that's two different ways that we could get the Avenger ID and pass that up to this function. All right. So let's go look at this function, handle delete, in our app.js. So in this route, in the Avenger route, that's the Avenger list. We want Avenger, oh, right here, Avenger at /ID. We are passing handle delete Avenger down as a prop, which we just looked at. So let's go look at this .handle delete Avenger. So first thing we're going to do is console log, just make sure that it's working. Delete pushed. Then we'll wait for that to update. So this is a little bit broken, and there we go. Don't worry about that. That's just a side bug that I need to fix. Okay, so if I click delete Avenger, yay! So that function is running. Okay, so next we want to call an axios.delete. And we're going to use this same string here, except I think the endpoint is a little bit different. So we're going to go to the server.js. Yep, and we see that it's at /avengers/id. So we're going to, right now, we're just making a call to /avengers. But it needs to be /2/3/4. It needs to be the ID of whatever Avenger we're trying to delete. So we're going to turn this into an interpolated string, and we're going to use the Avenger ID that we've passed in to create that final string. Then we dot then off of that, and we get a response back. Let's just drop this down. There we go. And for now, we're just going to console log our response and close that up. Okay. So we're going to click on Thor. We're going to click delete. Aha, so we got something back. So response.data is now our list of Avengers without Thor. So the call worked. If we look at our network, we can see that let's just slide this all the way over. We can see that we made a delete request to the correct endpoint. We didn't pass in a body of data, so there's nothing down here to look at. And then we can see here that we have our list of Avengers, but without Thor. Now, there's two problems with this. First is this is not what the Notes API is returning. Unfortunately, the Notes API is returning something completely different and is not returning this beautiful new curated list with your deleted note gone out of it. Oh, good question. So you would still need the find method, Linda, because it is, that's what the rest of this page refers to. So you still need to have an Avenger variable for all the rest of this page to work. So that's why I went with this, because it's a lot shorter. We have to have Avenger anyways, so this is a lot shorter than doing props.match.params.AvengerID. Good question. Okay, so let's look at our server, and let's say, all right, it is filtering the list, perfect. Let's not return our list. Let's return an object that says success, and we'll send in, we'll send back the ID that we sent with the request. So now let's take a look at this and see if we're a little bit closer to what the Notes app does. So if we click delete and we look at that request, there we go. Now we're just getting back success 2. So what can we do with this? Well, if we were to, on the Notes API, since the Notes API is actually using a database and doesn't get reset every time we refresh, well, this actually would work. So we could refresh here and Thor's gone, right? But we don't want to force a refresh in our app because that takes away the whole idea of having a single page application. So instead, what we're going to do is when we make this call and we know we're getting back the ID, we're not getting back the full list. We're going to curate our own Avengers data, and we're going to remove that Avenger out of state. So this is how we do that. We're going to filter through, or we're going to set state, this dot set state, and we're going to set the state for Avengers data. We're going to call this dot state dot Avengers data, and we're going to filter through every single Avenger that we have living in Avengers data. And then filter returns a new array. So this is an immutable way to update our Avengers data on state. So we're going to look at one Avenger at a time, and we're going to say return this Avenger if the Avenger.id does not equal this ID that we passed in. So if when we're looping through our Avengers data and we get to the Avenger whose ID matches the one that we just deleted, we're just not going to return that Avenger out of this filter function, and it won't be added to our new array that this function is going to be creating. So this takes some pretty good knowledge of how to use .filter. The .map, .filter, these different array functions are, especially .filter, will look at each item in an array, and then it will evaluate this statement here. If this statement is true, then it will add that item to the array that it's returning. If this statement is false, then it won't add that item to this new array. Are there any questions on this piece of code right here? Okay, give me some thumbs up or smiley face emoji if this makes sense so far. Good, good. Nice. Okay, Linda may have a question, so we'll wait just a second. Anatoly's good. Okay, Linda, while you're typing, we're going to test this and just see if it's working. So if we click on Iron Man and we click delete, there he goes, he's out of there. You're out of here. Hulk, delete, you're out of here. Awesome. Okay, then it says, I'm just a bit confused because when Kate was doing the Smurf, she did not use the filter method. Yep, I know, and I'll tell you why that is. The reason for that is the API. So every API that you're ever going to deal with, and you'll deal with a lot of APIs, a lot of servers when you are working with in your front-end code, in your React applications. And every server is going to behave a little bit differently. And not every server is going to return the entire list of data. Like if you do a delete on most servers, it will return the entire list of whatever you're dealing with minus that one thing that you just deleted. But in the case of the Notes app, all it returns is a success message with the ID tagged in with the response. So if we look at this, if we look at our network calls, so when we deleted Hulk, who was the Avenger with the ID 5, we sent our delete request to the server, and our response was just this, saying, all right, that was successful. You deleted number 5. Good job. So the Smurfs API returned the entire list of Smurfs minus the one that you just deleted. But this API that we just changed and the Notes API, this is all they return, is some weird thing that says, all right, that was successful. You deleted number 5. Good job. Way to go. Now go handle filtering your array on your own. So that's why we're doing it this way, because we don't have our API giving us back the new updated list of Avengers minus the one that we just deleted. So we have to take care of that. We have to delete that one out of there. Now, there's kind of a sneaky thing that we could do here. Instead of filtering all of this, and I'm going to show you this. This is really cool. Sasha and I did this the other day, and it's awesome. So I'm going to create a function called fetch Avengers, and it's not going to take in anything. All it's going to do is this get request here. Okay, so there's our get request. Now in component.mount, we have to make sure to call this.fetch Avengers, and it will fetch our Avengers, and it will set our Avengers data to state. So when we're down here in our delete, and we delete one Avenger from our list, right now we are manually removing that Avenger from the state data, and we're returning a new array, and we are taking care of that all by ourselves. But we don't really have to do all that. All we have to do is refetch our data, right? Because if we refetch our data, it's going to return our array without that deleted Avenger. That Avenger is deleted out of the database. It's deleted off the server. So if we just run this.fetch Avengers, what's fetch Avengers going to do? It's going to do a new get call, get all of our Avengers minus the one we just deleted, and set that to state for us. So we'll refresh. We have Thor back here. Let's delete Thor, and then he's gone. So let's take a look at what happened. We sent a request to delete Thor, but then look, now we have a new request right after this one finished. And that was a get request to get all of our Avengers. And, oh, Thor's not there anymore. So we've got ID 1, ID 3, and Thor was ID 2. So that's a little trick that I would suggest using. Just plop this get call into a fetch notes function, call that inside your component.mount, call that after your delete, call that after your update. Whenever you need your fresh list of notes, just call this.fetch notes. Real quick, I will leave this here, as a reference. Linda, did that help answer your question? Okay, Awesome. Yeah, it's the little tricks you learn to write less code. Okay, Anatoly, I'll let you keep typing and I'll check back real quick. So let's now look at handling our update Avenger. Now there's two ways to handle this. Yes, I will definitely, well, so I can't post a link because this is a folder just on my computer, but I will zip this project and send it and post it here on Slack. What did I do? There we go. Okay, there's two ways to handle this in the UI. First, we can reuse this component here, and we can just tell this component if we are editing, change this, change add new to edit, and change submit to, well, you can keep submit the same, or you can make this button say add new or edit Avenger. So when we're editing, we want this component to know that we're editing, so that the title changes, and so that we run the correct function when we click submit. That's the way we're going to do it tonight. The other way you could do this, it's a little bit less complicated, but it is copying code quite a bit, so it's less dry as well. And that would be to, when you click on Update Avenger, to have it open to a brand new component. So you can do it either way. You can do it, you can have it open to a brand new component, or you can reuse this component. I'll show you real quick how to wire it up to reuse the same component, and then we'll talk about the put request itself. So let's jump back into our Avenger file. So our Avenger file has this button here that says Update Avenger. First is calling prevent default, then it's calling this function from props that says go to update Avenger form. Don't need to send in the event, we just need to send in the ID. So go to update Avenger form is being invoked with this ID. So let's go see what this function does. That's in our app.js. So here we go. Go to update Avenger form. We're no longer passing in the event. So let's just console.log ID. Oh. So we're going to go into here. I'm going to click on Thor, and we're going to say update. Oh, it's still passing us an event. Why is it passing us an event? I bet because I didn't save all the files. So we'll go into Iron Man, we'll say update, and there we go. We've got our ID. Okay, that is working. So there's two things we want to do. On our state object, we have is updating. We're going to change this to true, and then we're going to update this Avenger object with the Avenger that we clicked into to get to the edit. And the reason we want to do that is all these fields are the fields that are controlling these inputs here. So all these inputs are controlled by this Avenger object. So if we can update this Avenger object with the details of the Avenger that we clicked into, then all of this, for example, if we click into Iron Man and we update this to say Iron Man, then this form will say Iron Man. So this is what we want to get to. We want to have these fields populated with the correct data from the Avenger we clicked on. So one way we could do this is use the ID and do a find off of const Avenger to update equals this dot state dot Avenger data dot find. That's all well and good, but that's just more coding. Let's go back to our Avenger form, and we've got the entire Avenger object right here. Like, there's no reason that we only need to send up the ID. Why not just send the entire Avenger, right? So let's do that. Get rid of that. We'll call this Avenger. We'll console log our Avenger. Make sure that that is logging. So if I click on update, then I see my Avenger object. And all of these fields match exactly what's on state here. So all I have to do is, here we go, run set state on, pass in our Avenger as that Avenger. So we're updating Avenger on state, this object right here, with the Avenger object that we just passed in. Oh, where'd we go? And you guys know this. We can do the shorthand here. Since it's Avenger equals Avenger, we can just do the shorthand. Okay, but remember we also needed to update this on state. So is updating equals true. Now this is what we call a flag. It's a flag that we're switching to true so that when we click update and we route to our Avenger form, it knows to say edit, and it knows to run the correct function when we click submit. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at is updating, and let's take a look at make sure our Avenger is being added to our state. So if I scroll down here to our Avenger form, here's our Avenger form, we're passing in is updating right here. So our Avenger form gets this prop, is updating. So let's go look at our Avenger form, and let's find is updating. Okay, so we see it. We'll come back to this in just a second, but we see it right there. We'll come back to that. Let's look at this one first. In this component, if is updating is true, which it is after we click update Avenger, then the title is going to be update Avenger. If this is false, if we're not updating Avenger, if instead we click on add new, then it's going to say add new Avenger. So that's how we're going to change the title. We need to make sure that props.isUpdating gets set to true when we click on update Avenger. Then let's come down here. When we click on handle submit, when we click on this button and we go into the handle submit function way up here, now we're going to check to see if props.updating is true. We're going to run this function. If it's false, we're going to run the add new Avenger function. So this is where it checks to make sure that it runs the correct function depending on if is updating is true or false. Okay, so we just clicked on update Avenger. Let's look at under the hood. We're going to look at app, and we're going to, where is app? Here we go. Here's app. So we're going to look at app and we're going to look at state. So we see that we're not updating that. Why are we not updating that? Oh, probably because I haven't saved all my files. Oh, I hate that. Okay. Oh, and Natalia, sorry, I meant to come back. Oh yeah, we did. Good. Okay. All right, so let's click Update Avenger. And we want to click into App. There's App. Let's look at the state. Yay, it said it is true. And we have our Avenger object is populated with all the things that we wanted to for Iron Man. So now all we have to do is route to our form. And when we route to our form, these will all stay on state as they are. And we'll see that form populated with all of this data. And we'll see the title of the form updated. So in app.js, after we do this, let's actually go in, let's do this from, well, let's see. So in app.js, when we're in our app, we do have our history object. So we can do it from right here. So we do have props.history.push. We're going to go to Avenger form, I believe. Let's take a look. Yep, Avenger form. So we're going to go to this route. Avenger form will then be rendered, and we'll have our Avenger data. We'll have our isUpdating data, and we'll see all of that in action once I save that file. Oh, of course, props is not defined because it's this.props. We're in a class. All right, so Iron Man. Click on Update. Yay, it's working. So we have the title updated. We have all of Iron Man's data right here. Now, in Avenger form, if props is updating, which it is, when we click submit, we're going to run handle update Avenger and pass up the ID of our Avenger. So let's go look at handle update Avenger in app.js. And we're going to console.log Avenger ID. And just make sure that that is working. So go into Iron Man, click Update. Go to our console, click Submit. There we go. Woohoo! All right. So what have we done so far? We have in our Avenger component, we have this button called Update Avenger that is going to invoke this function from app.js, so props.goToUpdateAvenger Avenger form, and we're going to pass that our entire Avenger object. So goToUpdateAvenger Avenger form takes in that object and sets that to the Avenger state. And then we also set isUpdating to true. Then we route to our Avenger form, which is here. And since we set that Avenger to state, we have all of his data in populating the forms. And since we set isUpdating to true, we have this title instead of add new Avenger. We could also do something up here, like we could say update instead of add new, but we're not going to worry about that. Now, also, when we click submit, we are invoking this function right here, handle update Avenger, instead of handle add new Avenger. So this is running. We can see that with the console log. Now all we need to do is actually update our Avenger. So let's take a look at our server. Here's our put request. We need to do the same thing that we did with delete, where we pass where the endpoint that we go to has the ID built onto the end of it. So let's do that real quick. We're going to do axios.put, and we're going to grab, we're going to do the exact same thing that we did right here. So there's the endpoint, Avengers/Avenger ID. We're going to run a .then. We're going to look at the response. Let's just look at response.data, since we know Axios gives us the response in response.data. Go to Avengers, into Iron Man. If we update, we'll call him Iron Man. And we'll hit, let's see, let's open up our, oh, we've got our console. Submit. Did I not save files? So weird jumping back and forth from Code Sandbox to Visual Studio Code. Okay, let's see. Did we run a delete? Oh, we did run a put. Did something happen that we didn't? Oh, we didn't actually type console.log here. Dip-a-doo. See, we all make silly mistakes. Okay, try this again. Iron Man, update. We're going to call you Iron Man Dude. We're going to hit submit. There's the call. Let's look at the console log. We're getting a full array of data back. But let's change that. We don't want that because that's not what Notes does for us. We want to return success, and we're going to say rec.params.id. Oh, we've got the ID set as a variable already right there. Okay, so let's do this one more time. We're going to click update. We're going to call him Iron Man Dude. Aha, there we go. So just like we did with the delete, before we changed the server, it was returning the entire list of data with the updated Iron Man object. But that's no fun. Why would we want things to be easy? We want things to be as hard as they can be. So we have this, but remember, we've got our awesome fetch Avengers function. Let's just call that. And let's do, let's wrap this in curly braces so we can drop it down. We're going to call that, then we're going to call let's see. Yep, this dot props dot history dot push. We're just going to route back to where's our list at? /Avengers. So what is this going to do? It's going to update our Avenger. Ooh. We need to do one more thing here. When we do a put request, if you look here in the server, we need to have some body of data sent to this server. And right now we don't have that body of data being sent. So with a put request, you do the string And then we need to send our updated Avenger. Where can we get the data for our updated Avenger at? Where is that living? Come on, you guys got this. Where is our updated Avenger object? Yeah, we could get it from where we called this, but we don't need to. So we called this from the form, almost. Oh, we're so close. So we called this from our Avenger form, right? What object is controlling our Avenger form? Where is that object being controlled from? Okay, I've got a way to find this. So we click on Iron Man, we click Update, we click Iron Man Dude. Let's look at React. If we click into here and we click on App, and we look at our state, we've got this Avenger object on state, right? Well, check this out. His name is updated. What if I update Armored Avenger guy? Oh, so in our app.js, even though when we're working with this with the add new, and we were building these inputs out, it was in our mind that these inputs were controlled by this state object right here, right? That was easy to remember because that's what we were doing. We were testing it. We were jumping back and forth. We had just put all these here. But now that we're reusing this object, it's pretty easy to forget that even though this is update Avenger instead of add new Avenger, it's still being controlled by this .state.avenger. So even when we're in update mode, when you type in here, it still goes through and it updates our state on our app.js. So right down here, where we're doing handle update Avenger and we're making that call, the body of data we need is just this .state.avenger. This has our completely updated Avenger app, our Avenger object right here. It's just right on state. That's the big advantage to handling all of your state in one place. This is in this application, this is the only place that data lives. Sure, it passes this data down to other props, but in the end, when you're updating data and you're changing data, it's all current and in sync right here in app.js. So since we know that all of our data is current right here, that's why we do all of our business logic. Business logic is just any of this kind of stuff that we do inside our functions here. Any API calls we make, any kind of data manipulation we're doing like we did here with our set state, like we're doing here in our handle change. All this kind of logic lives right here on app.js because that's where the data lives. So in our post request or put request, we need to send our updated Avenger, which lives right on this .state.avenger. So we'll save that. We will go to Avengers. We will click Update, Iron Man Dude, Armored Avenger Guy. We're going to click Submit. It's going to take us back, and we're going to see that updated right there. We're going to look at the Network tab, we're going to see that first a put request was made to Avenger/1, and we got back our stupid success message that nobody likes and everybody thinks that we should write servers a better way. But that's okay. Oh, I hate that. Dang it. Okay. And since this is a put request and we sent a payload, we sent some data down, we can look at that payload. We can look at the Avenger object that we sent down to the server. And the server updated our Avenger correctly. Then we made a fetch request, and this got us back all the data, all the updated data that we want with our full array. So this dot fetch Avengers, again, fetches our Avengers with a get request and sets it all to state. And since we had just run a put request with new data for Iron Man, with our updated Iron Man data here, when we ran this fetch request, it fetched our new updated Iron Man dude. Any questions? Good. Several people are typing. Love to see that. Good. Ask questions. Ask me questions. Yay. That makes me so happy. Good. Good, good, good. I'm glad I could help. We'll see if anybody else has a question, and then we'll talk about this weekend because we've got another holiday next Monday. Okay, so Linda says, when I clicked update, it brings me back to the display notes, but it's not updating. Let's see, back to display notes, but it is not updating. Am I getting this error because I didn't get is update false on the state? When I clicked update, it brings me back to, that's something that I'd have to look at your project. So you click update on a note, right? And you updated the note, and then it takes you back to the display notes, but that note isn't updated, correct? So it doesn't have anything to do with is updating, but we should change is updating back to false. We would do that here. Is updating equals false. So what's happening is your call to the API is returning the same thing that my call is returning here. So your call is just returning success, and you haven't done anything to update your notes list. So well, let's do this. Let's comment out. I'm achieving this by refetching our Avengers. What would happen if we didn't refetch our Avengers? Let's click into Iron Man, click update, Iron Man dude, armored Avenger guy. We click submit. Nothing happened, right? Well, let's look at our call that we made. We obviously sent Iron Man dude down and armored Avenger guy. So in the database right now, in the database, this has been updated. But in our front end app, it's not updated. That's because we're not getting the full list back from the API with the updated Ironman. So we need to do one of two things. We can look through our Avengers data and update it ourselves, or we can simply ask the API to send us back our new updated list of Avengers. So now that we're rerunning after the put request inside our .then, right? After the put request gets back and says, yay, this was successful. By the way, you guys should have catches on here. I don't, I apologize. Anyway, so after put request comes back successfully, we're going to refetch our Avengers, which does a get request for all of our Avengers and sets those Avengers to state. Again, so it's now replacing our old out-of-date data with new fetched data. So when we click on Ironman, click on update, change those two fields and click submit, you see that we make the put request and it came back okay. But then we have one more network request happen, and that's a fetch request for our Avengers. And that's why this updates. So I'm guessing that's what you need to do. If you can't get that to work in the morning, if it's before lecture time, let me know and I can jump on real quick with you before lecture. Otherwise, I can jump on with you and look at it specifically right after the lecture, tomorrow's lecture. Okay, real quick, next Monday is a holiday, and okay, perfect, thank you very much. So next Monday is a holiday, and we won't have classes. You guys have Friday and Monday off, right? You don't have class Friday. So since we don't have class Monday, you guys will be expected to come to class on Tuesday, having read through training kit, Monday's training kit, and having done the project, Monday's project, by Tuesday morning. So you have a 4-day weekend, and so there should be time, whether you want to do that Friday or if you want to do that Monday, there should be time for you to get that completed. So it may be best to do that Friday because the teachers and the PMs will be available as resources to you to answer questions. Monday we all have off, so we won't be available for you there. So yeah, just a heads up on that. I'm sure Jeremy, I don't know if he's talked to you guys already about it, but I'm sure they'll talk to you guys a little bit more tomorrow. Looks like there's one last question. Oh yeah, I'll send you some info on that, Linda, on what the 10 in parse int does. So cool. All right, guys, have a good night, everybody, and good luck. Finish strong tomorrow. You guys got this. And I am in lecture from 9 to 11 Pacific time. But if you have questions outside of that, I'd be happy to jump in and work with you one-on-one, with any of you one-on-one tomorrow outside of that lecture time. So you guys can get it finished up and move on. Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Dustin.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.